When did you first join the military?
I was graduating from high school. There was a lot of conversation about women being in the service. This was in New York. And we went down to Fifth Avenue to take the test. There were about 7 or 8 very black women. There were lots of the others. And we all took the test. And they told us that if we wanted to, we could wait, and they would let us know. So we go. There were restaurants in the area, and liquor stores, and all that sort of thing. And when we were called back, they told all 7 of us that we had took the blood. We had all failed. One teacher, one professor. Of course, I just graduated from high school at the time, and I can't remember the other 2. And everybody looked at each other, we couldn't believe it. So, are you serious? That was serious. So we left, went down to, before that, I had never been to a bar. So while we were waiting for the results, each woman paid her share. And I didn't know what to do with mine. Because all I remember is Papa's old thing that he made, homebrew or whatever you call it in those days. But when they finally, one of the ladies knew Mrs. Roosevelt, friend, I'm trying to think of her name.
Mary Bethune? Mary Bethune?
That's right. And apparently this fellow had worked for Mrs. Roosevelt for a while. And so he told her, and she told this woman. Well, that sure went out at the wind, because we all got accepted.
Yeah, so you're saying after you didn't have to retake the test, Mrs. Roosevelt?
No, we just called and told
them
to get down to 39 Whitehall Street.
Were they doing just the black people like that? They were telling them that they failed the test and they really had passed the test?
They had passed.
And Mary McLeod Bethune,
Mrs. Bethune and
spoke to Eleanor.
Were very, very close friends.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And when she told her, when Mrs. Bethune told Mrs. Roosevelt, it was actually a day later when we were called and told we had been accepted. It was a mistake.
Mm. Now let me ask you something. After you got accepted to go in the military, what did you actually do there?
Well, we had men trainers. And at that time there were no women. And this is one of the things they wanted, to train the women to take over. This is in Des Moines, Iowa. And I'll never forget this man who was our boss. I cleaned boots. Well, we didn't wear boots, but we had to clean his boots all the time.
What? Joseph, if you don't mind, turn down that TV in the bedroom, please. Thank you. And tell me more about this boot cleaning thing that they had y'all do.
Well, that was part of the duties. I think one of the pictures over here shows me either walking out of the barracks or something. And you did all the things that men did. You marched, you got out there in the field and hoped that you didn't walk on a snake or
Where did you do your training at?
The first part of my training was Des Moines, Iowa. The second part of my training was Fort Huachuca, Arizona.
And then where did they actually deploy you? Were you overseas or were you just here in the United States?
From Fort Huachuca, they selected people to go to, women to go to training. And so we went back to Des Moines. And that's when they began to spread us around in different places.
So let me ask you something. At that time, were they giving you full access to places on base, or did they have it separated where it was the white soldiers and the Negro soldiers? And if so, tell me more about that.
Yes, they were separated. And not that I don't know in your time, it's a different time with me, but we could not go to the BX. You had to write a note, and then one person would go to the BX and order all the things that you needed.
How did that make you feel?
What else could you do if you needed anything from the BX? At first it kind of hurt, but then after that you just sort of ignored it. But when the new girls come in, we sit in the window and watch from our barracks, and we count. This one will be with us. This one will be with us, because most of the Mexican girls got to be with us. There's some mixtures from up in north, up in the north, for some of them to adjust. And we knew of one girl who was accepted to go to training because I think she had a PhD or something. And they let her go to OCS. All the rest, they had to come down with us. And of course, that was something that the girls teased and all that sort of thing.
Why did you put up with it? I mean, we weren't free here. Why'd you go and want to sacrifice your life and your time and your youth like that? Why'd you do it?
Why did I do it?
Yes, ma'am.
I like geography. And you listen to all this stuff on the TV, and we were getting used to TVs at that time. And but my mom didn't want me to go, and that was the tough part. But I went down to 29 Whitehall Street, put my hand up, and about 2 weeks later, I was on my way to Des Moines, Iowa.
How long were you in for?
Total, 26 and a half years.
So did you see a change from when you first joined to when you left? Tell me about that change and what got better or what got worse.
There was an order for 4 girls to go to a school in Virginia. The same school that they're going to go, that Major Adams and this other, the general are being named for. And I was the ranking person, believe it or not, as a second lieutenant for the 4 girls. One was from Virginia, one was from New York, 2 of us was from New York, and another one was from Alabama. So everything was based on that. There was always a difference of opinion then we were due to go to Ohio, back to Ohio too. Sorry for these little, but remember, I was in service a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we were being sent to this school, and they gave me all the paperwork. We had difficulty getting train reservations. So we stopped in Ohio, not Ohio, I'm trying to think of the name of the town. Anyway, when we got to the station, I was told to give the paperwork that I had, and they would see to it that at a later time we would have we could have sleeping quarters on the way to Virginia. This man it was hard for him to get these papers out of my hand, and it was hard for me to get them back. Because I guess he just never seen a black woman with that kind of authority. So we got on the train, we sat down with, the seats as you move backwards and forward, we played cards. And then all of a sudden, we heard a trainman come through and said, "Oh, the white folks follow me." And I'm looking at, Williams was from Alabama. One girl was from Virginia, a white girl. And another one was from, two of us were from New York. And the one from Alabama kept saying, "Griffin, don't you be saying anything." I said, "I haven't said a word. I'm just looking." "What are they talking about? All the white folks following me." Well, they did. And they went into the white part. That's when they used to separate everybody. You don't know anything about it. You're too young. And so we got in to Virginia. There was nobody there to meet us. So they were separated in another place. So I found out that I asked the woman at the window, the side window, not the window that you normally go to. And she said, "Well, you go around here in that side door and there's a telephone back there." Well, that's like having to drink water out of a cup fountain says, "White only." You wouldn't understand. But anyway, I said, "Come on, Williams, I'm going to call the post and ask them to send someone to pick us up." I know where white girls were. Williams, good Southern girl, said, aren't you going to let them know that they're taking us?" "No, they're white folks. Let them be white folks." So they did send someone from the base, post. I keep saying base because I was at the Air Force at the end. And they picked us up, took us out to the post. We checked in. We checked into quarters. About 2 or 3 hours later, here comes the old white girls, trying to get up the steps with their bag and everything, where we had help because the guys who came from the motor pool helped us to get all settled and all. And I started to laugh. But for the first time, the girl from Alabama smiled because she was scared to death. And so we stayed in the same quarters. Got our work done. I said, "Williams, we couldn't get any So I'm going out the door and Williams is saying, aren't you going to tell them? I said, no. I gave them their papers. They became white folks. And they let white folks take care of themselves. Morning of graduation, this gal comes over and said, did you get our papers for going to Des Moines? What papers? What are you talking about? And Williams is having a fit. And she's scared. And so I said, no. I said, when you became white folks, I gave you your papers on the train. Where are they? We went all the way to Des Moines, had a sleeper. They sat up because they couldn't find the paper. So there's little things like that, you know. And when you have another friend and you can go backwards and forward, we laugh about it. White only water fountains and things like that. Then we got to the training part, and everybody had the same training. But that BX thing, I never could figure out why you couldn't go in the BX. Somebody had to, you had to give them what you needed, and they would bring it out for you. I had never been to, other than my grandmother's doctor, I'd never been to any of the doctors. And we had to take a test, and I had never seen a white doctor. My doctor's always been black. And, but we got through that. And other things like dining in the dining hall. Now, they didn't make us wash the dishes. I mean, we got past that. But there's lots of getting up early in the morning and walking out in the fields. I was scared of snakes anyway. The usual things that happen, you know, at training. And then the lady who was put in charge was a very wealthy woman from Texas. And she was really very, very nice. But they began to talk about bringing women in, more women in, instead of the men training the women. And that's how I got to Fort Huachuca.
Now let me ask you something. You said something very interesting. You said, well, they white folks and just let them be white folks. So was that pretty much the way it was because they weren't going to change and y'all couldn't change? Or tell me more, expand more on that.
There was nothing to change to. You know, I mean, for us,